You're listening to episode number 19 of the Wellness Real Estate Podcast. Are you an agent who is looking for ways to stand out or differentiate yourself? Today we have Melissa Camp, an agent from Phoenix, Arizona, on the show. Over a decade ago, she thought the same thing. After finding out about NAR Green and becoming an NAR Green Designee, she has used her continuing education in green and sustainability to stand out in the marketplace and grow her business. Environmental entrepreneur, solar enthusiast, educator, and residential realtor with HomeSmart Elite Group since 2008, Camp's primary business focus is selling homes in the Phoenix area while helping homeowners make informed choices for home improvement also. Her secondary focus is education, and she founded a real estate school called Elite Education in 2014 and a 501c3 nonprofit called Sustainable Real Estate Education in 2016. Camp believes in being the change you wish to see in the world and has been a leader transforming the market and helping agents learn more about buying and selling green homes for the past several years. So today you are in for a treat because Melissa is going to share with us how having an NAR Green designation has helped her. So many agents I've talked to say that just buyers don't care or that the designation doesn't mean anything to anyone. And if that's you, you might want to stay tuned and see what Melissa has to say about that. Health, wellness, green, and sustainability are trends that are here to stay. And now more than ever, people are becoming aware of how their home environment plays a significant part in overall well-being. So are you going to be the agent that gets out ahead of things? Or are you the agent who follows the crowd and struggles to keep up? I don't know about you, but I want to lead. So if that's you too, let's grow. Welcome to the Real Estate Marketing Podcast, where we explore a unique strategy no one is talking about that will enable you to engage more people with authentic conversations about your business more often. And it's called Wellness Real Estate. Not sure what that is or how it can help you as an agent? Well, that's what this podcast is all about. In fact, wellness real estate is growing so rapidly that it is projected to be nearly $870 billion by 2027. I'm Sheila Alston, and I'm your host. I'm also the founder of Healthy Home Media, where I help agents all over the country leverage this new trend in the industry to spark new conversations that will get people to listen to you and notice your brand. So if you're tired of spinning your wheels without any leads or sales to show for it, then stay tuned. I guarantee this podcast is not like any you've heard before. Welcome to the Wellness Real Estate Podcast. Welcome, Melissa. Thanks so much for being on the show today.
My pleasure, Sheila. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So really what I'd like to talk about is just how you have used your NAR Green designation, because I know that when I became a NAR Green Designee a few years ago, I was really surprised at how few agents there are that have the designation. And we're in Southern California, or I am, and everybody is all about green and healthy living down here. And so I was just surprised. So I'd love to just know more about how you are using it in your business, how it's helping you.
Well, I've been an NAR Green Designee over 10 years. I've lost track. I'm not actually sure how many years, but I originally got it. It was the first designation that I got from NAR as a new agent. So I had a license in 2009, actually 2008, and I had a baby in 2009, and I stopped teaching in the elementary schools, and I got my real estate license. And I just really wanted to differentiate because there are so many agents. I want to say in my state, there's over 50,000 licensees. And so just to stand out from all of the other agents who are all using the same marketing templates and kind of the same sales pitch, maybe even the same, things on the phone when you cold call somebody, the same scripts and whatnot. And I just really wanted to use green as a way to differentiate myself. And of course, I just have interest in the topic. It was really important to me at that time. Al Gore's movie, The Inconvenient Truth, had just come out, and I'd seen that, and I was like, you know what, this is perfect. So really, it was just to differentiate in a crowded market. That's
great. So then, you've had it for a while. So how are you using the designation? There's so many tools and resources within it, and I don't think I'm using it to the extent that I probably should. Or I just found out they had some awesome webinars on there that I didn't realize were there. So
Yeah, you can definitely go into the archives there, and there's so many webinars. I like to pop them on while I'm folding a massive load of laundry. I have 4 kids, and so I'm always doing some laundry, and just put that on in the background, and you can listen while you're doing other stuff. But there's a wealth of information out there that you should definitely be using if you're not already. But the way that I started using it, it was similar to your story. I started blogging every single week before I had 4 kids and I had a little bit more time. I would write my own content because I also have a journalism background, and every week and then every month, and now it's lucky if it's every 2 months. But I like to write my own blog articles and then send that out to my database. Sometimes the media will publish something if they think it's newsworthy, but I just like to stay in touch with my database, and it's always important to me to provide items of value. So I've definitely used all of those one sheet, what are they called? Like the flyers that the Green Resource Council provides as marketing materials. So there's different information on solar, and there's information on energy audits and on saving water, things of that nature. So I always like to provide value to my clients because they're not always going to need to buy a house all the time. But, a lot of people are making home improvements. And so they come to me as a resource, who do you know and how do I do this?
Right. Well, I mean, that's exactly my story too. I mean, I really was like, how can you stay top of mind and connect with people who aren't necessarily looking for a house and might not care about how the market is right now, but still talk to them about something that is home related, right? You want to still be letting them know that you're an active agent and then you're working out there and that you're trying to provide value, not just chit chat about the kids or about whatever. And then because there's so many secret agents out there, right? That are agents, but they don't talk about their business. And so then why would the clients or why would your friends know that you're an active agent that they should hire? So
absolutely. So yeah, I used the Green Resource Council, and then I also got into teaching. And so I volunteered a lot with US Green Building Council. That's kind of how I started to get a name for myself too, was through my volunteer work. It really helped my credibility in the industry.
yeah.
But we threw a lot of events. And so that was really good just to network with other like-minded professionals in other fields. And I still keep in touch with a lot of them, even though this was going back a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to think I want to do some events for homeowners. I haven't really done that yet. I've mostly been educating agents, but I think I want to start getting out there and reaching out to some more homeowners in my neighborhood where I want to work, and maybe doing some like green home seminars or something.
I think now's the perfect time, right? Because people are now finally aware of more, about the health of the home. I mean, when I originally was thinking healthy home, people are like, what? A home can be healthy? And it's like, yes, a home environment can be healthy. And it's not just about energy efficiency, although, air quality, water quality are really important to your health. But I feel like wellness, having non-toxic things in your home, and even just the people always say, I'll know it when I feel it. Like when I walk in, I'll just get a sense. And that feeling that you get comes from the amount of light that comes in the home, the floor plan, just the flow and layout of the furniture. It's not too cluttered, or because that can be chaotic in your mind. So there's just so many elements that go in to provide that feeling and to make your home just feel comfortable and joyful and save you money, and I just think people are ready for it now.
Absolutely. With the pandemic, I think air quality really became important in more people's minds, and they became, people started studying air filters, and they're like, hey, Green Designee, tell me about HEPA filters. And I'm like, okay, well, I can tell you something about HEPA filters. And, I think people are paying attention now more than ever. And then with the well, I just saw the well building standard for homes or for businesses. I just saw it on the front of my bank the other day. I was like, that's awesome, because the well building standard looks into the acoustics, and it looks into the lighting, and it looks into the water and the connection to nature, the biophilia, I think they call it.
Yeah.
The fancy
Biophilic design has been around for corporate environments for a long time. It started as that study in the hospital with people that were healing faster if they could look out a window, and rather than the people that weren't. And so people studied that. But anyways, why aren't we doing that in the residential environment? It feels like, residential is kind of behind commercial a little bit. Yeah. Well, so then, but what about, I mean, I'm sure you didn't feel like you were an expert day one. So how did you, I think it's a lot of agents don't really want to market themselves in a different way or say they're a special, that they have a specialty if they don't feel like an expert yet. So what would you say to those agents?
Well, here's the thing about the whole topic of sustainability. It's not something you can learn once and then leave it and it's going to never change because it's evolving. It's constantly changing. And so luckily for me, I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. I'm always learning. I just keep, studying and taking webinars, and there's just so much good information out there that I'm constantly learning. And that just makes me a better agent. I'm on top of my game, and you don't want your clients having more information than you. You don't want to not know what they're talking about when they're, on the home tour and they see an inverter on the side of the house and you don't know that the inverter is for the solar panels. Like, you need to stay on top of, how these things work. And again, they're changing. Like, we just, I helped update the green textbook for the designation twice. And this is our 4th revision now. It's the best one. I'm very excited to teach it, but we had to completely update the smart home chapter. We almost had to delete it from 3 or 4 years ago and basically write it over because it's evolving and it's changing. And so I would just advise people to invest that time in something that interests you, because sustainability is such a broad topic. Maybe one person's interested in energy efficiency, but another person's interested in growing their own food, and they could be completely different topics under the same umbrella. So I would say find your specialty and your passion, and start with yourself too.
Yeah. And just learn. And I do think just share what you're doing. And blogging is a great idea. I mean, have you heard of, I've been researching, which agents are trying to differentiate themselves this way. And there's a whole bunch of agents calling themselves different things, like regenerative real estate agents. Have you heard of that? Neil and Alyssa Collins are starting this movement, and they literally have agents from all across the country who have resonated with their message. And it's about regenerative real estate. So they're saying that it's about kind of connecting with the land and talking about, the design of permaculture and stuff, having just different conversations with homeowners about how they're using their property. And they make their agents go through, I don't know if it's some sort of building standard. I don't know which one it is, but it's great because then their agents understand and know how to talk about these things with their clients and provide value in a different way. It's pretty cool. Awesome. Yeah. When you were talking about the education you were doing, is that the actual education you take to become a designee that you're a part of, or is it just on the separate webinars and things?
So yeah, there's NAR's Green Designation. It's a 12-hour course. It's in its 4th revision right now. And it's just 2 days. Usually it's 6 hours, but it could be broken up over 4 days or however the instructor wants to do it. But that's the course that I helped update the textbook for, and it has a new name. It's now called NAR's Green Designation course, People, Property, Planet, Prosperity.
Oh.
It has a brand new name and kind of a new format. When I took it, back in the day, it was 18 hours. It was a 3-hour course. Yeah. And it's hard to get people to invest in themselves for 18 hours. So they condensed it down to 12 hours, which means it's an information-packed course. There's so much information in this course. And because I've been teaching it for 10 years, I can tell you the most common response of the agents that take the 12 hours out of their time is oh my goodness, I didn't know what I didn't know. I had no idea this whole world was out here. And now, they're going to do business differently and better for the rest of their career. So those 2 days are going to, get to be used however many years they're in real estate now, all that information gained.
Well, when I had, one of my very first listings as a newer agent, I remembered that the homeowner had put LEDs in, and I was co-listing it with an experienced agent. And I said, shouldn't we market about, the LEDs you just put in? Let's talk about all the, wellness features in the house. And she kind of looked at me funny and was like, no, we'll just tell them when they come in. It's kind of a side. Nobody really cares about that, And I was thinking, what a missed opportunity, because people do care about that. It costs money to switch your lights out to LEDs. So the new buyer doesn't have to do that, right? And it's going to save them money. So I do think that there's so many agents that are missing out on speaking about these benefits with people, so that because who doesn't want to live in a home that has no toxins or less toxins and saves them money every month on their utility bills.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm a big fan of Pearl. I've been using the Pearl certification forever because it comes with, like, I call the silent sales pitch. So even if I, the listing agent, am not there to tell you about all that insulation up in the attic that you can't see because you don't have x-ray vision, you can still read my place card on the wall, or you could read, you know, the Pearl report, just basically pointing out unnoticed but valuable characteristics that people, maybe they don't even know they want it, but if they have that information, they're going to be able to make a more educated decision when it comes to buying a home. So
yeah. And I do think it helps you write your copy a little bit different too. You know, lots of sales agents write their copy with fluffy words and just features and checking off the boxes. And if you're reading that, I just don't know that if the pictures aren't compelling and the copy isn't that compelling, is it really bringing people into the home, to see how it feels? But if you can say things like, you know, I had a listing where I did the Pearl certification on their solar, and she was a health coach. So literally she used non-toxic pest control. She used non-toxic cleaners in the house. She had whole house water filtration, energy efficient appliances. And I talked about how it was one of the healthiest homes in the area. And I talked about that in the copy, you know, and that it had a Pearl certification, and their house sold significantly higher than the other homes that were for sale at the time. So it was, and the person who bought it had a brand new baby and they cared about that stuff.
Yep. I just had a similar story. I had a Pearl Gold certified home, and she had invested in an ERV and all this extra insulation, and she had a FooBot AirSense monitor, and she spent all like $50,000 in improvements.
Wow.
And we sold it $36,000 over list price, and it appraised. So the buyer didn't have to pay anything.
Wow.
Value. And I really think that those features really helped boost that appraisal up, and it helped us get multiple offers. So
yeah,
really
well,
helped.
and with the Pearl, what I like about the Pearl certification also is that they have that addendum in there. So you have to get a qualified appraiser in who understands green.
Yep.
Yeah, that's huge.
Lucky for us, I mean, we had a great lender that understood it. Before we even accepted the offer, when I had 6 offers in hand, I went to the lender and I said, hey, can you, do you have an appraiser that knows how to appraise a home that has solar and that has, an appraisal addendum? And they did it. They knocked it out of the park. I was really, really impressed. But I did have to tell them that up front because they didn't know. And I did like my benefit as an NAR Green Designee. I don't know the exact dollar amount, but there's a for the certification for Pearl, there's a discount for green designees for both the solar and the home certification, which is a nice benefit.
Yeah, that's great. So if anybody wants to check them out, they're at pearlcertification.com. It's a great resource as an agent. I just feel like a lot of agents think that there's not a lot of green homes, or that such a niche market that they don't want to say that that's why they specialize in it, because they feel like they'd be limiting themselves. So do you have stories to share, or what do you say to that?
I mean, I do have to tell people that I sell all homes. I will sell a luxury home. I will sell a home on wheels. I will sell a green home. I will sell a not yet green home. I have to, feed my family. So I definitely let people know that I will help them, even if their home is not green. I'm not going to discriminate, I'm going to help them make it more comfortable or whatnot.
But I do think that, like, marketing is about attraction, right? It's about who do you want to come to you. So if you are talking about green things, then you're attracting the people who do care about that, right? So did you find that your business started to attract more people that have energy efficient features or in their home to sell or to buy because of your marketing?
I don't know if it's because of my marketing, but I definitely have a reputation in the schools that I work in and within my own neighborhood, sponsoring different events like the Earth Day cleanup and things that are important to me. Right now, I'm working on some tree plantings in my community. And so I think just getting out there and doing projects has really been helpful in my business. I haven't had to do a whole lot of marketing because my business is really referral based. So for me, it's more about the the relationship with people. And that's, again, staying in touch with people and being a resource. And, I always want to help people. I don't know if that's like my best quality or my fatal flaw, but I like to help people and I like to be a resource to people. I tell them I have more resources than I know what to do with. And so if you need something, come to me. And if I don't have that resource, I at least know where to point them in the right direction. I've got tons of vendors that I have fully vetted, I've used on projects. So if they're, for example, I see a lot of dumpsters in driveways, especially in Arizona here. A lot of people are renovating, they're investing in their homes. And so if they're doing a project and they want to switch out their tankless water heater, they might come to me and say, hey, do you have somebody for that? Yes, I do. And I can tell you, put it close to your central plumbing core and not at the end of your house. And then you don't have to use, so much energy to get it to your bathroom on the end. Or I don't know. I have a lot, like I said, I have.
Well, and that's so helpful. So how did you build that network when you were beginning? Like,
I followed them around and asked questions. I would hire them in my own house. I'm serious.
yeah.
Probably didn't like it so much, but I had an energy audit, at my own house. And I would follow, like, what is that upside down plunger looking thing that you're putting on my ceiling? Oh, you're checking out the pressurization of my lighting. Are they insulated? Are they not insulated? And then they're putting the blower door on the front door and I'm taking pictures and I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing? And so I kind of learned just by my own house, like being my own guinea pig. But then I also got formal education. So beyond NAR's green designation, I got lead green associate and I went on to learn the lead AP homes, which was one of the hardest exams I've ever had to take. But nevertheless, I got real green building sciencey. And then I actually started renovating some of my own homes. And so I helped with the house across the street. And I have a client out in Tempe, my first net zero home, Sally. She has a net zero home in Tempe, built in 1970s. And so I actually put on a green hard hat. I own a green hard hat. And I actually went out to the job site and I swung hammers and I learned I didn't like scaffolding. It's not my thing. But I actually like to go out and learn by doing things and thereby, getting some experience that I can share and put behind my clients. That was a lot there. Sorry.
That's wonderful. And then you also said that you were part of a builder society or what builder?
Yeah, for a while, I was a member of the National Association of Home Builders. I haven't done that in a minute, but I'm kind of itching to get back into it, to be honest.
And what did you do there? You just you were a member and just got involved with some of their events or?
So that I actually have the LLC. So I was basically a project manager. I don't have a construction background, so I still had to have somebody that knew the constructions and the codes and whatnot, but I would oversee the green building science aspect of it. So green building science projects start with what's called a charrette, where you get everyone on the team together and you all talk before the project begins about what's going to happen. And so that way you save time, you can eliminate making mistakes. So I would start my projects with the charrette. And then I would basically make a really good spreadsheet with all of the specs. So I had a great spec sheet. And because I'm a lead AP, I went to the Lead for Homes rating system and I took all of the specific metrics, flow rates and whatnot, just to keep them really low. So we wanted to save water, we wanted to save energy. The houses that I actually did, even though I'm a lead AP, don't tell the US Green Building Council, but I certified the homes with the National Green Building Standard because their building standard was at that time better for existing homes, whereas LEED was better for new construction. But we started with the charrette, got everybody on the same page, and we had to cut the water use and the energy use by at least 50% to be certified. And so I did the projects and then we ended up, selling the house.
That's great. I love it. So what is the biggest trend that you see now because of, maybe because of COVID with buyers and sellers and green homes?
I guess it depends on where they are in the market. Really, in my particular market, it's very hard to get a home for buyers. They're very excited if they can get a home. There's typically multiple offers. So unfortunately for buyers, they're really happy to take what they can get and then fix what they don't like. Basically, so they'll be doing some renovations probably in the future, but that's okay because I'm a green designee and I know green building science, I can say, hey, don't worry about this. Maybe we can fix it this way, or we can tweak it this way so it works for you, and make those suggestions as we're going through the property. I like to point out, the noticeable and maybe less noticeable features, and then I let the buyers decide, is it important to you or not? But unfortunately, they're very lucky to get a house in this market.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the case in a lot of, most parts of the country right now.
Yeah, perhaps.
And then as far as sellers, they probably don't feel like they need to really do anything to sell their house right now. But I do think that they're leaving money on the table if they're not highlighting energy efficient stuff that they already have that's in the home. And not a lot of agents do highlight that stuff.
Absolutely. And it's harder when the market is moving faster. Honestly, as the listing agent, you have to do that legwork up front to collect all of that information before it's on the market, because otherwise it's going to be off the market before you have everything ready. So you just have to, I guess, move with the speed of the market.
Well, what do you say about, I know some agents think that solar is more of a pain than a benefit because they don't understand if it's leased or if it's owned, or, and they get worried that it's going to, mess up the closing. So how do you talk about solar with your buyers, and how do you promote it as a listing agent?
Okay, well, how much time do we have, Sheila? I happen to be a solar enthusiast.
Yeah.
And so I also offer a 3-hour course just on solar. But I love solar. Solar is great. I have 2 solar homes. In fact, my solar rental property that was empty for 1 month actually paid the bill for my primary residence. So I had a negative $73 bill for my 2 houses in 1 month. So I was pretty excited about that. But I think solar is great. It saves you money. It's renewable energy. When I'm not using it, I'm giving it to my neighbors. My solar panels, I've had them for a very long time, and they paid for themselves in 6 years. Estimated, I think the national average is about 10-year payback, and it might even be lower now because the price of solar has gone down.
I think it's lower. The last when I talked to my solar guy, he said 5 to 6 years usually.
Yeah, it's paying for itself, and I love having the low energy bills. It's really, really helpful. The only thing I don't have that I would really love is batteries, and I think more and more people are going to be having homes with batteries. I do some research studies on solar every year, and in Arizona, through the Arizona Regional MLS, about 6% of our homes have some sort of solar, either leased or owned. And most of the homes, the majority of those, probably around 60%, I'd say, are leased systems. So we do have more leased than owned systems. And then in our state, we have standardized contracts. And so one of the things that I've helped update over the years is called our solar addendum. So we have a standardized form, and it used to just be for leased or financed solar, but now it is for all solar. So even if you own the solar, the buyers and the sellers all have to sign this addendum. It's a short 2-page addendum, but it points out things that a buyer should be looking at during their inspection period. So, obviously the setup, what kind of panels, how old the inverter is, because the inverter has to be replaced at some point. If there's battery storage, if there's any issues. And then in our state, a big thing is called grandfathered utility plans. So my utility plan is really old because my solar's old. And if I sold my house, I could transfer it to the new buyer and they would save hundreds and hundreds of dollars compared to what the new plans are today. So that's just some of the information that we put on this form. And it really is helpful to keep everyone on the same page. We're all playing by the same rules across the state. All of our timelines are the same. And so it's a really great form and tool to use.
Right. And so what do you say? How do you feel about a leased system versus an owned system? And if you're the agent, which is better, or how do you navigate talking about it with your client?
Yeah, that's kind of a tough situation because some of the leases have language at the end of them that basically say they reserve the right to change any of the terms in the future. And so for buyers to get into a lease that they didn't necessarily initiate, that can be a little bit scary, but I would take a good look at the cost savings, and I would start there. Look at the utility history, look at all the savings, and make sure it's worth it. If they really don't want to have a lease, typically there's a buyout where they could, if they don't want to assume somebody else's lease that they didn't initiate, they could do a buyout. So that's another option where the seller could either buy out the lease with the proceeds of the sale, or the buyer could get financing to pay for it. They could pay out of pocket. There's several different ways that you can structure it. And then you could always remove it. I hate to say it, but I teach agents how to write contract language. You know, if you're going to remove the solar, you have to repair the roof. Who's doing that? When is it happening? What's going on with the earnest money? There's a lot that goes into that. But for buyers, I would say as long as you're saving money, I mean, that's what it's all about, is saving the money. And then the social responsibility piece, you're doing the right thing for creating your own clean energy.
Yeah.
And don't change your habits either, buyers. Don't be like some people out there. They're like, oh, I have solar, so now I can leave everything on and turn the thermostat down several degrees, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, that's the thing too. When I talked to my solar expert guy, he said the first thing that a lot of homeowners miss when they do get a solar system is they don't do their energy assessment first, because there's a lot of things they could do to lower their energy usage so that they don't have to buy such a big system. You know,
absolutely right.
Yeah. And he said they'll go out and buy a brand new energy efficient refrigerator and then put the old one in the garage. And he's like, then you're not saving any energy when you do that.
Exactly. You're not conserving. Your conservation efforts are not working anymore.
Right. Exactly. So what advice do you have for new agents, or any agents that are maybe haven't heard about the NAR Green or considering it? What would you say to them?
Don't wait. Don't wait. I mean, it is the best it's ever been. It is such an exceptional course. And I'm not just saying that because I contributed to it. It really is amazing. So invest in yourself, take the time. It's only 2 days. If you can't find an in-person course, there are online courses available as well. But don't wait to take this. This information is hot off the press, and the market is changing. If you read the statistics and the generational trends report and some of the information coming out from NAR, millennials care about this stuff. They're our biggest group of buyers. And so if you're not paying attention to the preferences of the buyers and sellers in the market, then you're missing the boat.
Yeah. And like you said, you don't want to not know what your buyers know. And then when your buyers are paying attention to this, you want to be more educated on the subject than they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is your favorite green upgrade?
Ooh, so many. I would say the most recent one, and I actually won a contest from the Arizona Department of, I think it's water quality. I switched out my tankless water heater, and every guy that comes to my backyard absolutely loves it. They're like, oh, it's so pretty. Thank you. But I switched out my water heater, and because I'm a green building science nerd, I actually got out a stopwatch, and I went in my master bathroom, which is at the end of my plumbing run. It's like the longest.
Yeah.
I have to wait for water in the house. And it used to take 2 minutes and 36 seconds to get hot water to the master shower. And I switched out my tankless water heater with a new one. It's a gas tankless water heater. Don't tell anybody. It probably should be electric, but I already had the gas set up back there. So it's gas. And then I also coupled it with a hot water recirculation pump. It's right under my bathroom sink in the master. So it's recirculating water. So those two fixes together, I cut down 2 minutes and 36 seconds to 6 seconds. So every single time we're using the master shower, my kids use it too. We're saving 2 minutes and 30 seconds of hot water that was just going down the drain and being wasted.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite. And I love not waiting for hot water. I don't have to sit there and wait. You can get right in.
But if you have we had a large house where we had that recirc pump going, and it just was so much energy that we had to put it on timers and stuff. And then I learned that if you do have tankless water heaters, because they don't take up that much room, you can if you have a large house, you can actually put them two of them on either side of the house so that they're closer to their source, so that you're not using the energy for the recirc pump, but you still get the fast hot water.
Mhm.
And my solar guy, he actually said his favorite hot water heater, if you don't go tankless, was one that has a, oh gosh, now I'm not going to remember it. It has a heat pump on the top of it. Have you heard of those?
Mm-mm.
Heat pump water tank, because he said what it does is the electrical power used for the water is not heating the water, it's running the heat pump. And so the heat pump takes the takes the hot air out of the room. So if it's in the garage, it takes the hot air out and then heats the water with that air, but you're running so much less electricity because you're just running the heat pump instead. And I even know, I don't know if you know Kevin Kane, he's with the Green Homeowners United in Wisconsin. And he helps homeowners with green mortgages so that they can roll in energy efficient stuff when they purchase a home. But he said that's his favorite green thing too. And he actually, it's blowing out cold air into his garage. So he just put a pipe on the cold air and made it a cooler. I thought, oh my gosh, that's so creative. Funny.
Love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. So where should people go if they want to check out NAR Green?
It's at green.realtor.
Yeah, so easy. And they can just, do they get credit for doing these classes? Like the credit that we have to do for the extra learning every 4 years, or?
Yeah, so if you take it with me in person, I can only speak for Arizona because I'm only a course provider in the state. I offer 12 hours of continuing education as well as the green designation, but each state is different, especially the online course as well.
Okay, but they should definitely look into that. So that's awesome. I just know when I was searching on the site, and like I said, I had Tonette had put something on the Facebook group about a new course that Craig Foley had done. And so I checked it out and I saw all these courses. And I was like, what? And even talk about, you know, how to list a home, how to, I mean, there's so many different topics that I just thought were so beneficial that if you were a green designee would be helpful for you. So
yeah, some of my favorite webinars on there. Craig is awesome, by the way. He is a rock star. If you guys don't know Craig Foley's name, you should probably Google him. But Sandy Adamatis does some great webinars. I think there's a 2-part on how to challenge an appraisal, how to professionally go about that. There's also a really interesting one on smart homes for seniors and aging in place. I thought that one was outstanding. I took several pages of notes. And then I think Amanda Stinton does one on the member benefits. I just did one, it's called a sustainability overview. And so I go over NAR sustainability plan. If you guys did not know, NAR has a sustainability plan. They do, and it's very well written, and it's awesome. So I would definitely become familiar. That plan can be found at sustainability.realtor.
That's great. I love that you're so involved in it at an association level too. I feel like sometimes that can be intimidating, but what do you, if you are an agent, I mean, I think that it's probably the fastest way for you to get to know other agents and to understand more about the industry. What can you, what would you say to agents about getting involved in at the association level?
We need new volunteers. We always need new volunteers. So if you are interested, definitely step up. I want to say if you're interested in serving in a national committee, that deadline is fast approaching. But there is a whole committee process, and there is a committee called the Sustainability Advisory Group that they're taking applications for currently. That would be a great way. And if you don't have one, you can always start a group. I believe at sustainability.realtor, there's some plans on how you can start your own association group locally. You don't have to recreate the wheel because other people have done it and they've shared their successes.
That's awesome. Do you have to have a lot of qualifications to be involved at an association level?
I believe you just have to be a member. I mean, as long as you're a member, you can participate. I don't think it matters. There's no minimum experience level as far as I know. And so, yeah, I would definitely encourage you to get involved in your association or other groups for sure, like the U.S. Green Building Council. We have a green chamber of commerce here. The universities always typically have, you know, sustainable groups doing things. So there's definitely ways to get involved. And one other opportunity too, that's going to be coming, I believe this November. I'm currently working with NAR staff in a small group to write a high-level sustainability course. And it's going to be 1 hour. So it is so hard to touch on that topic in 1 hour because it's so broad, but we really want to reach people that haven't had a whole lot of experience with the topic and maybe aren't familiar with sustainability. And we want realtors to be able to speak confidently about sustainability. So we're going to try to keep it short. It's going to be fun and playful. And it should be coming out right around NAR annual.
That's great. Well, I just think it's like a baby step to just inspiring people to want to learn more, right?
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all you do. And thank you for being on the show today. I so appreciate it. And would you tell us how to get a hold of you if people want to network with you or just meet you or take any of the courses that you have? How can they do that?
Sure. They can just go to my webpage. It's greenhomesphoenix.com.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something new that will inspire you to think about your branding and how you can market yourself a little differently. If you enjoyed this episode, then you're going to love what I have for you because you don't need to wait to go get extra certifications or to grow and expand your network to get started attracting those new leads right now. You can simply begin by talking about wellness real estate trends and what you've learned on this podcast with others. I mean, this is pretty interesting stuff that no one has heard about, and I have all the tools that can make it even easier for you. Wellness Real Estate Magazine is a brand new wellness lifestyle magazine, and it's the only magazine that brings health and home together. We educate readers on industry trends and how to create a healthier home environment, written by industry experts around the country. And we have 3 covers to choose from: Wellness RE, Healthy Home, and Wellness at Home, so you can easily find one that aligns with your unique brand and messaging. These magazines are the perfect done-for-you tools that help you not only stay top of mind, but they educate and engage your audience, which positions you as an industry expert. Differentiate yourself and grow your brand the easy way. Learn more at